Hi everyone, I'm Seth.
Hi guys, I'm Monique.
And this is
Gay Math. The Gay Math Podcast.
With Seth
and Monique.
This is Gay Math.
Okay.
With Seth and Monique. Hi
everyone. Hello.
Episode 12.
Yes.
Part 2. Should we tell them how we ended up here?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, today is Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy July. It's officially July.
Happy Saturday.
I hope your summer's going well.
Yeah, so how we got here is we originally filmed an episode, which it's going to be the lost episode because you'll never see it.
Rest in peace, Queen Fly High. Gone but not forgotten.
Literally. So we filmed a different episode that was supposed to be LA versus New York. Mm-hmm. But then we started talking about something that is still very important.
Which we will get into a little bit.
So then we just rewatched the episode. We were editing it together and we were like, this is horrible.
Yeah, we literally, Monique came all the way to my house. We recorded. We set up a Zoom call to edit it.
Yes.
We spent hours listening, editing it. We got to the end and we were like, do you hate the episode too? And we were like, yep, I hate it just as much as you do.
Yeah.
So we scrapped it.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to put anything out that we're not excited about. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we always want to like even though we're small and like whatever it is doesn't matter, like we want to make stuff that we love, stuff that we find is like creatively true to us,
that we're excited about, that we can't wait for you guys to listen to. We don't want to be like, well, we filmed this, so let's just put it out there. Like we were just like, we just did a lot of work for this and it's going to be annoying, but we want to be excited about it.
So we're refilming today.
This one will not be forgotten in the name of the Lord. It will be on the internet, please.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So we're excited.
And this is the Gay Math Podcast.
Hi, I'm Monique.
And I'm Seth.
And
we're gays.
Yeah, we
who
are. Who
have a podcast. Mm-hmm. And we do math.
No. I don't. Maybe.
I do now.
Yeah, you do. But my math days, they should have been over earlier than they were.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could do some life updates. Speaking of math. I'm in school.
Oh, yeah.
That's my big update. I mean, there's not much going on. I just started 11 hours a day.
Insane.
6 days a week. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I have truly no life, like literally none. But that's okay. It's 13 weeks and then I'm done.
As for me, same shit, different day.
Right.
Still no job.
Okay.
Still applying every day.
Yep.
Has anyone reached out to me? No. So
you know, all those like Republicans that are like, just go get a job. Everyone's so lazy. And then when you actually look for a job for 6 months and don't hear anything and apply for hundreds of jobs, it's like, right.
No, I can for sure say, because I have a notebook where I write everything and I write down like all the jobs I applied for. I can for sure.
It's hundreds.
I literally started numbering them because I was like, I want to see actually how many I've applied to. Over 100 jobs.
Right. And haven't heard back from any of them.
No. So
and it's not like you're applying to be like an astrophysicist with zero qualifications. You have a college degree. You have years of work experience at good places.
Yeah.
And you're hearing nothing. Like,
yeah.
Who's getting hired?
Also, the best part of it, which I'm going to try not to dwell on, is the fact that some of the jobs that I've applied for are fully beneath like what my experience. Like, not that the job is beneath me, but like
it would be taking a step back and not a step forward in your career.
Like going from a manager or whatever to then being like a sales associate, like that's like a pay cut, and then also I have more experience than that. And even those jobs,
crickets.
Dude, I've done that for years. You don't want to hire me? I'm like, I just can't.
Like, wouldn't they be stoked out of their mind and be like, oh my God, this person with managerial experience is applying for a sales associate position.
Literally.
Knows front of house, back of house, managing, like.
Right.
Just so stupid.
I'm an operations expert. Like.
My God.
Everything's great.
Jeez. It's rough out here.
Yeah, so that's my update.
You know our boy updates, so I mean, there's just not much to report there.
No, literally.
They just all piss me off. I'm in my I I go through phases. Right now I'm in my like boys are pissing me off phase where I like, you know, when one like sets you off a little bit and then you're like, I'm done with this forever and I never want to speak to anyone. And on top of school, I just don't have time. I don't have time to waste, and boys are a waste of time.
No, I agree. Like I
or theys or girls in your case.
True. My last person I went on, which was my first date, the last person I went on my date with was the first date I've ever been on.
Right.
We never talked again because I messaged him after that last episode that we talked about it.
Yep.
And he didn't answer back, which, you know what? Cool. I like literally also felt like it was more friend vibes anyway. So
yeah, you did mention that, but it's still just like,
it's just annoying. It's like, just like say, hey, like had a great time. I don't want to go on a date again, or
would love to be friends, or like something.
Yeah, literally, like just communicate that. But no further updates. I just want you know what? And I'm gonna say this on the podcast.
So there's permanent record of it.
Yeah, I don't know if this person is watching, but if you are,
who are we referencing?
British one.
Oh God. Okay. Hi, sir.
I want him to, like, at this point, I want him to message me back randomly so I have something to live.
So we have podcast content.
I have nothing to do.
Right.
Like, I need something to do.
Listen, if anything, I guess that's good. Like, I don't know. We can do things for the podcast.
No.
Just so we can have something to talk about. Like, maybe we just go on dates just so we can talk about it.
Literally.
British man, if you're watching, text Monique something shocking so we can talk about it
just
here.
Like, confess your love for me, or say you're moving to America, you made a great mistake and you want to like be with me. That would be
I will never be nice to him though, by the way, if you like start dating him.
Yeah, I think that's valid. I wouldn't be mad at you for that, because like if someone treats your friend bad,
it's over.
Yeah, you automatically don't feel like happiness towards them.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, this is him, and I'm gonna be like,
yeah,
hi.
If someone did that to you, like, and our friend, you know, our friend, her, like, I was like, yeah.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
I mean, she didn't do anything personally to you, but you were just like, no.
Yeah, but I was talking about someone else.
Wait, can I see you? Can I see you back here for a second? Oh,
like, I was not nice to him. Like, for when it started getting bad, I was like,
yeah, no,
you're the worst.
Right. Which we like, I think you should be.
Yeah.
If you're like, if you have a friend who's like besties with someone who screwed you over, that's not your friend.
Yeah, no, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've been seeing this conversation on TikTok, about like, oh, friends were like, well, they did nothing to me.
Do you have any loyalty? Do you have any respect? Like, I maybe I'm just like a loyal bitch, but I'm like, I'm just like, I don't care that you haven't done anything to me.
Yeah.
You hurt someone that I care about. So like, we're done here. There's nothing I need to see for myself.
Right. Like, I think at first when you introduced me to all your friends, you kind of were like, I feel this way about them, but you know, you figure it out. And I immediately was like, I don't care. Like, I immediately don't like them because you don't like them. Like, I would never like put my friend in a position for us to all have to like be surrounded by people that are not like, we're not on level ground with, just because I'm cool with them.
Right. That's just weird behavior.
Yeah, that's very strange behavior. Very weird.
And even worse is when people date someone that their friend has like dated or something, dated a friend's ex. If my friend dated my ex, I would be so mad.
Oh my God, which reminds me. Oh my God, thank God you said that.
Thank the Lord. Amen.
I was going to say this on my TikTok, and I'm just going to say it here now. Love Island, like.
Okay.
So,
the American one.
Yeah, it's been popping off recently.
Yes.
I've been seeing TikToks about it and stuff like that. And so they just got back from Casa Amor.
Love.
I guess like these two guys had been with a girl, whatever, and then they went to Casa Amor, and like one of them didn't bring the girl back, but was secretly like hooking up with a girl there. Didn't bring her back to the villa.
Okay.
To like save face.
Sure.
And then another guy, he actually bought the girl back to the villa. And they've had videos sent to them of their like partner like interacting with the girls in Casa Amor.
Okay.
Meanwhile, these girls weren't interacting with the guys, weren't sleeping in the beds with them, like slept like with pillows in between them. And watching that, and I've seen Love Island before, but watching that, I immediately was like, if I was ever on this TV show and my man, I think we've talked about this before, but it enraged me. If my man went to Casa Amor and came back with somebody,
like you're sitting there, you've been missing your man,
right.
You've been thinking about him,
yes.
You've been like, oh, I miss my man, I'm excited to share a bed with him. Here's your man, and he walks in with a bitch on his arm.
I'm like I just don't understand like how they stay so calm. Like they're like, but the American one for sure, they're more like talkative and they talk more about it. But like in the UK one, they're kind of like,
they just try to act all cool and chill. I would like I would just start smoke would come out of my ears, and like I would just be so mad. I would be so mad.
Like, and apparently, okay, here's the gag too recently, that the guy that didn't bring the girl back but was hooking up with this girl like in Casa Amor, a different guy who is his friend in the villa bought that girl back.
No.
And they were like, why did you bring her back if you weren't with her? Like he was with her. And now they're all like speculating that he bought her back just in case the other girl dumps him now that he did that, so he can have a fallback. I'm literally losing my mind.
So I'm your fallback now. So I'm number 2.
Right.
I will never ever
I can't
be someone's second choice.
No,
ever.
No.
I have more self-respect than that.
Yeah.
No.
Like also like, wouldn't it be weird to you that this other guy that you weren't with is bringing you back?
Yes.
Like, so you've like, you know that like, I just can't. It just made me so mad because like these girls are getting done dirty.
Yes.
And like the guys are like,
they're just fucking around.
Yeah, no, literally. And one of the girls was like, I feel so stupid for this, but I literally slept outside. I was getting bit by mosquitoes, sleeping outside, waiting for you. One night, I literally cried because you weren't here, and I actually started to miss you.
No.
And you come back and you bring this girl in here?
Nope.
Done.
No.
We're done. Like, I'm not giving you a chance again. And like sometimes on Love Island, they like will make up and they're like, you made a mistake, it's fine, whatever. We're not making up.
No. I look like an idiot now because I've been sitting here missing you. And you're we're done. We're literally done.
I've been telling everybody how great of a guy you are, how excited I am that I finally
that would piss me off.
Yeah.
Also, this week I gave myself the ick. And I don't know if you feel this way, but have you ever like hyped up a man or like been like, ooh, he's hot, and then they like get some kind of like confidence boost? It just really gives me the ick.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm ever like, oh, this man is hot, and then I realize that they're getting a lot of like attention, it just gives me the ick. I'm like, I don't want these men to think that I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea that I'm like hyping a man up. No, it just gives me the ick.
I get what you mean, because there was like this one guy who was the last guy like I had a crush on before, like British guy. But
so I did just update for those listening. I did just pour the water all down my face and all down my sweater.
No, it's fine. Slay.
So I'll just dry off while you continue.
But the last guy I had a crush on before, British guy, which was when I was living in New York.
Jake Paul.
Oh. Yes, him.
Thank you.
He was not cute. Like, to me, like, he's normally not a guy like I would go for. Like, he's not my type. He was blonde, like fully not a kind of guy I would go for.
Yeah.
But I think because like I really liked him, he started being like, you know, he like got this kind of confidence.
Gross.
And I was just like, and then when he like ghosted me, I was like, I gave you a chance.
Yeah.
You told me that you wanted me to stop talking to my host. So I had hosts.
Yeah. And I was doing you a favor.
Right.
You were a charity case.
Right.
And I hyped you up. I gave you a chance.
Right.
And now you have the audacity to ghost me.
Exactly. Because I had hosts. You were the one who told me you want to be with me. Crazy. But anyways, on the same topic of that, cheating, like Casa more, like reality shows.
Yep.
Seth?
Big news. Drum roll, please. Yeah. Let's hold. I'm caught up on Vanderpump Rules. Woo! Fully watched all 11 seasons, every second of it, all hundreds of hours. Yeah. I'm caught up. I know the tea. Yeah. I know the Scandival.
Yes.
And I'm pissed off.
Literally, like, first of all, I'm so happy that Seth finally knows about Scandival.
Which we're gonna talk maybe for a little bit about it. So if you haven't seen it, skip ahead click the 30 seconds ahead a few times, and then we'll be back. But
yeah, we also that's what our last episode turned into, which
the lost episode, Gone But Not Forgotten, Fly High Queen.
Yeah,
but was about Vanderpump.
We basically like finally talked about it because Seth hadn't heard about it, and I was literally holding in so much information. But like the entirety of that whole thing and how it went down, probably one of the most insane things I've ever seen on reality television.
1000%. I mean, I think in general, Vanderpump is, for me personally, the most shocking reality show I've ever seen. Like, just the way that, and it doesn't even seem like fake. Like, I mean, these people are truly screwing each other over.
Absolutely.
It's just insane. They're cheating on each other. They're talking shit. Like, I've just never seen anything like it. And I've watched so many reality shows, and it's up there. MILF Manor is up there too, which I saw that they have a new season of, but this time instead of moms and sons, it's dads and daughters.
No,
which is even worse.
That's worse. That's worse.
But maybe we should watch it and then have a podcast episode.
That might be funny.
Because the MILF Manor, if you've never seen, everyone, is truly the most disturbing thing I've ever watched. And not only that, I know someone who's on it, which is just a whole other thing.
Literally, shut up.
So, just shocking.
Oh my God.
But I'm caught up. Vanderpump Rules. I know the Scandival. I know the tea. Feel free to DM me about it. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to hear about it. And Tom Sandoval, if you're listening.
Horrible man.
You just, like, you suck.
No.
Like, you just suck.
Literally sucks. Accept responsibility. Develop some sort of empathy so you can learn how to like be remorseful for your actions.
Yep.
And grow up because you're a grown man.
Yeah, it's hard to tell a 40-year-old to grow up, but like grow up maybe.
Literally.
I don't know. Just own up to. Also, I just can't when people do something shitty and don't own up to it. If you're gonna be shitty, like double down. Be like, I did that. Yeah, I did it and it sucks. And if you're sorry about it, be sorry. If you're like truly not sorry, be like, yeah, I did that. It sucks. And I'm not even sorry about it.
Yeah. See, that's my thing about him, that he's like, he's saying he's sorry, but he's not actually sorry.
Yes.
Because he continues to do other things like in like the background or say shit about Ariana or just in general about the whole thing that leads everyone to believe that you're actually not sorry. You're just saying sorry so that it'll go away.
Yes. And we also we've talked about on the last episode, the Lost episode. If you say, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, and then there's a conditional after it, that's not an apology, and that's not showing remorse or owning up to anything. So like when you say, I'm sorry, but this, I'm sorry, here's an excuse, that's not an apology. Yeah. Like, you're not sorry.
I'm sorry, but I was going to break up. I'm sorry, but like
the relationship wasn't good. Yeah. I'm sorry. No. None of that matters.
Done. So everyone, I think Tom Sandoval should be banished from lots of things.
Yes. And as people who live in the same city as him.
Yeah. I genuinely hope I never like see him in person. I would rather like maybe, I don't even know, like touch something and then put my hands in my mouth.
I'd rather, oh God, I was going to say I would rather walk barefoot on the streets of New York. I don't think that. I think I'd rather bump into Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, that you could die from walking barefoot.
Which, that's a good segue into today's episode.
Woo! Today's episode, we're going to be talking about LA versus New York City, baby.
Does New York have a hand signal? I know this is LA.
I don't think so.
How could you spell New York with your fingers?
Also, we're adults. So.
Yeah, I'm not doing like hand signals and stuff.
In New York, we're grown-ups, we're adults.
Yeah.
We don't just like do nothing all day, so I don't think we have time to come up with hand signals.
Right. Who has the time?
The people in LA, they have time to...
We have a little more time. We have time to sit in traffic and come up with hand signals.
Boom, roasted. No, I'm kidding. That's...
Boom. Which that conversation that we just talked about, me and Monique went to a Harry Styles show at Madison Square Garden, and as we were exiting, we saw a woman walking barefoot.
Oh, yes.
On the streets of New York City.
Yes.
Not only that, in Manhattan, not only that, on 34th Street.
No.
Probably the busiest, like, you're barefoot.
Right.
You're going to step in the New York goo.
Here's my thing. I have grown up in New York my entire life. I have never once been like, I'm so tired that I'm going to like walk in the streets with no shoes on.
No.
Like, and if you've ever done that, I'm so sorry. Like, you have, like, there's something literally wrong. We need
to think about our actions. If we're walking around New York and we say, you know what would be better right now if I was barefoot?
Right.
We need to do some self-reflection.
Right.
We need to like take an evaluation. Maybe we should like get outside the city,
exactly.
Get away, unplug, get away from the internet.
And like think about what you've done.
Yeah. And you need to live with that.
Yeah.
That you walked barefoot.
No,
we're very passionate, but we were like freaking out when we saw this woman. It was just very disturbing.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like point blank, it's very horrible. And like people who like come to New York and do like strange shit, I'm like
you're a guest.
Yeah, like
you're
this
a guest.
Is like stop. Like I just can't like watching people like I don't know, like I feel like people do stuff in New York where they like eat at like random places, or they like I don't know, I'm just like, why are you like sitting on the ground? Like, why are you letting your kid like play the floor?
Oh god.
Like, why are you touching that? And then you're touching your face. You're on the subway. You're like not wearing a full shirt on the sub. Like
your body is like touching stuff.
No.
You're touching things, touching your mouth, eating your food.
Yeah.
Like New York is dirty. Like you don't want to be like touching it and then touching your mouth or face.
Yeah.
Or
like
your bare skin touching anything.
Like I love New York. I have so much respect for you, New York, and like that city's like literally on my back, like please. But it's literally like you can absolutely cannot like just go in New York and like if you put your face on the ground you like, oh my god, actually no, I know exactly what I'm trying to say.
I'm ready.
So there are people like influencers who live in New York who let me just say this, like fine, whatever, do your thing, but like don't pretend like living in New York is completely different than it actually is. Like don't sell this idea of living in New York, because New York is a beautiful place. It's wonderful. It's a melting pot. There's amazing things to do there. But I feel sometimes influencers love to sell this idea of New York that isn't real, and they make it seem like so gentrified and like unsafe sometimes. But New York is full of culture and people who have lived there for years. And like same with LA, like it's the same kind of thing.
It's like it's very similar in New York and LA. It's like the places with actual culture, the places with people who have been born and raised there are like the scary parts. And like the parts that the influencers go to are like the worst parts of LA. They love like, Soho, or they love like West Hollywood. And it's like, that's not LA. That's not New York. Like there's so much amazing culture. It's not influencer parties. That's not LA culture. It's not avocado toast and smoothies. That's not LA culture. Like, those are transplants to the city that have like made their own little bubble. That's not the city.
So but what I was like saying from that is like New York influencers, you can tell like that they they're not from there. Cause like when they do like fit checks like in the subway or stuff, and then they're touching the bottom of their shoe, like that's how you know if somebody's not from New York, if they're in a subway on something like that, like touching something that's been on the ground.
Yes,
like
1000%.
That's an immediate red flag.
Yeah,
I would never be in a subway and then go touch the bottom of my shoe. I would rather burn my hand over fire.
Because I know what I've stepped in.
Yeah, no.
It's not a question of like, what have I stepped in? It's, I know what I've stepped in and I don't want it on my hand.
Yeah. But yeah. LA versus New York. No,
LA v New York, baby. We're just going to talk about both cities. We've both lived in both cities. So like we have some opinions about it and we have things to say that are interesting and fun.
So if you guys have seen like some of our like first episodes, you know that we've obviously both lived in both. I've lived in New York for longer than I've lived in LA. And Seth has lived in LA longer than he lived in New York.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a trade-off, I guess, and we both like have different perspectives about each place.
Yes.
Like I was telling this to someone the other day. I think it was like on a dating app, which God, for like literally Lord Jesus Christ, let me just say this before we get into this. If another man on a dating app asks me if I have a Snapchat, I'm not in fucking middle school.
Yes. I just have a lot of issues. First of all, it's not 2016. No. Second of all, we're not in middle school.
No.
There's just so many issues with asking for someone's Snapchat that like clear,
like, and I respect you clearly want nudes. That's your tea.
But I want nudes.
Right.
Do I ask for someone's Snapchat?
No.
There's other ways to get nudes, people. There's other ways to send them.
Also, just like, you want me to communicate with you on, you have a fucking phone with a phone number.
Exactly. Like, I'm a professional and you want me to Snapchat message. Like, let's be real. Let's be real for a second. Like, we're grown. I have bills. I have a credit score. And you want me to Snapchat you.
No, I'm not.
You want me to see the blue thing? Like, just no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I just have to get that off my chest because it's really been bugging me.
It's just real. That happens so frequently, and I'm like, we're done here. If you ask for my Snapchat, we're done. Send nudes on Instagram like a normal person. Like, please don't ever hack my Instagram DMs because it's just not good. It's not good, people.
But so what I was saying from that is a guy asked me like how long like I've lived in LA, blah, blah. And he was like, oh my God, like, why did you like leave New York? Like New York is great. And I was like, I just wanted to experience something different. And like, to be very honest, like I love New York so much. And like, would I move back for sure? But like also in the same sense that I would miss LA.
Yeah.
So like I love New York. It's like my favorite place in the world. It's like my heart and soul. But if I also left LA, like I would still miss LA. So it's kind of like a toss up for me.
You need to be bisexual. I mean, bi-coastal.
But yeah, I do need to be bi-coastal.
Yeah, you just need to like, because which we can get into this with LA. A lot of people say that there's no seasons. There's definitely seasons.
Yeah.
There's cloudy seasons. There's rainy seasons. There's times in New York that's not ideal to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like you should have, it would be nice to have both.
Oh, for sure. And I think like the stereotypical things about New York and LA, like no matter how many times people say like they're not true, I think there is truth to some things, like how New York is like very serious and people are always on the go. That's very true. Like people are very straightforward, on the go, kind of always working. Meanwhile, LA people say it's like slower, like more like laid back. For sure.
1000%.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I mean, there's truth to a lot of stereotypes, and there's just a culture of New York that's go. We got places to be. Don't be in my way. Don't piss me off because I will scream at you. Like, I'm not stopping. I got to get to the subway. I got to get to work. Like, and then, LA, everyone's late because there's so much traffic. Everyone's chill about it because everyone's late. Like, it's just, they're very different. And that's something. I lived in New York for a year and it just wasn't my city. And there's lots of reasons why I left and didn't like it. I had a group of friends and it was just like a whole thing that happened. I'm not much for the cold, so I didn't like the winter. I like having my car, so I did miss my car. And I like the ocean, so I missed having the ocean. So there's just things like about New York that weren't really for me to like live there, but I do like the no bullshit, the like, don't fucking look at me, don't talk to me, don't get in my way, or I'm gonna cuss you out and scream at you.
Yeah, I think like from being your friend for a while, I think I've noticed that you've developed those kinds of traits, whether it's because like we've been friends for so long or because like you lived in New York for a year. Like that's very much like, that's something I love about New York too. Like, cause people I think that don't know people from New York love to say that they're like mean. They're not mean. No. They're just direct.
Yes.
People in New York are just direct.
They're going to tell you like it is. If you're in their way, they're going to say, you're fucking in my way, move.
Yeah, like they don't mince their words. And at the same time, too, like New York is very like, while it can be like hard and like difficult, people there still care for each other in the sense that if something's happening, like people will like come together to like help others or
1,000%.
And that's something I love about New York because it's like they're very individual, but when it comes time to like people need help or like something's going on and nobody knows, it's like, okay, how can we like come together and like help each other as like New Yorkers?
Yes.
So
yeah, I do love that. It's in New York, there's always stuff going on. There's always someone screaming. There's always like some kind of commotion. But it's like if someone's in danger or someone's screaming like help, people jump into action.
Yeah, and like for sure, like the whole thing about like you mind your business, like for sure, like I think that's true. Like people do often like maybe like mind their business when things happen or whatever, but like if it's very like serious
or real situation,
then like I've seen people absolutely jump in to help other people, like to stop someone from getting hit by a car or like to help someone like get out of their car if something's going on, like
help an old lady cross the street. Like that's there's something like there's a little community there. Yeah. It's very much like, don't get in my way and don't fuck with me. But if you're in trouble, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Which I love that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think being like from there, I've heard people say this too. Like when you're friends with people from LA, like whether it's like transplants who've developed like kind of the LA vibe that they feel is LA authentic, or like people from LA, like you kind of have to like almost develop a different way of like speaking, because I think people don't understand that kind of like, no, I'm not like being mean to you, I'm just telling you like I'm
just keeping it real.
I'm just telling you the tea. Like I heard someone say like I had to fully learn how to talk to my LA friends because they thought like I was like being mean to them.
That's so interesting.
Like it was like an influencer, they were talking about how they like were from the East Coast and they had to learn how to like be more like chill.
Right.
Which I would never do that.
Right.
I'm very sorry. Like I talk about my mom to this too. She's like, you're gonna like become like people here, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. I will always be very direct. Yeah. I will not trust people immediately because I'm just like that. I'm always keeping my head like on a swivel. That's how I am. Yeah. And another thing, which is so interesting, people from LA, like they don't have spatial awareness. And like if you go to New York, like you were saying, like how people are like, get out of my way. Like if you're too close to someone in New York, they absolutely will be like,
can I help? Like, why are you in my ear breathing?
Right. And people from LA don't understand that.
No.
So I will never like fully be able to just like let go of that thing, because fully people have been like
hovering.
And I get so mad. Like I get so mad and I'm like, hello? Or I'll be like, hi, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like my mom will be on the phone with me if I'm in a grocery store or whatever, and I'll be like, oh my god, mom, this stupid bitch is like so fucking close to me, and she's like, calm down.
No,
like,
it's get out. It just no.
Yes,
but I love when we're together and we're like, right, so we're gonna stand right behind us.
Exactly,
for sure.
Literally, and I think that's why like because you have an LA vibe, but you still have like that like kind of New York like little charm, which I love.
Yeah, when I moved home from New York back to Alabama, I remember we like walked into a restaurant and everyone turned and looked, which is very Southern. Everyone is so nosy. Everyone's so up in your business. It drives me nuts. And I looked around. I was like, right. So we're just all going to stare at me now. Like, what is happening? My parents are like, Seth, calm down. I'm like, everyone is staring at me. Why am I I'm just going to stand here and be like.
I do remember that.
Like, what you're going to stare at? Like, why?
Yes, I do remember that. And remember when we were with our other friend at the time?
Yeah.
And we were like all together. And I think we went somewhere. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why are people just like looking at me? And then she had to remind us that we're in the South, because I think we both kind of were like, we were talking to each other in the back, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, so pissed. Like,
yeah, if you eat at a restaurant, people are like this.
No.
They'll sit and stare at you. They'll listen.
No.
It just drives me nuts. Don't stare at me.
And when people like listen to you and then they're like, actually, they'll say
oh my, like we're talking about LA versus New York and they're like, oh, actually New York's pretty good. Like,
yeah. Why are you in my conversation?
You can listen all you want, but don't speak up and don't stare at me.
Yeah, like I didn't ask to talk to you.
No.
I think I literally made a TikTok about this the other day because I was like, now that I've been wearing my hair out and curly, today I did have to put it in a bun because I was sweating profusely, like literally a fucking animal. It was driving me crazy.
Right.
But I made a TikTok about how I feel like people stare at me more and talk to me more because of my hair.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I genuinely don't want you looking at me. Like,
no.
Don't stare at me.
No.
Also, don't talk. I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. If I'm in public, I don't want to talk to you.
No.
Like, I don't know you. I don't want to, like, you're scary. I just am trying to go somewhere. Yeah. Like, we were in the Philippines. This drove me insane. We were sitting at breakfast, and if you don't know, I'm on like a very strict diet.
Yeah.
So I can't eat many foods, especially when we go out to eat. So like at every meal, we were having breakfast. So I had to get a bunch of scrambled eggs and plain toast. That's all I can eat. And I get it at this restaurant, but we were sitting there and these two bitches were sitting at the table across from us, and my friends were sitting across the table from me, so their backs were to them. So I was the only one seeing this.
Yeah.
They were, I'm not kidding, staring at us like this the whole time. Staring. And then I got up to, now I, obviously, as we've talked about, I didn't let this slide. I was like, hello, can I help you?
Yeah.
Like literally staring at us the whole time. And then apparently when I got up and went to the bathroom, like they were saying like, judging what I was eating, they were like, he's just getting eggs and toast. Like my friends told me they said this, and then that set me off even more. I was like, great, so I can't eat anything. This is the only thing I can eat, and now you're judging that too. And I was like heated because they were staring at, not only staring, they were judging my food that I was eating that I have no choice about.
Yeah.
It just set me off.
Yeah. See, this is like what happens when you move to New York. You will get radicalized.
So if you want that, then spend some time in New York, because that will. Can you imagine eating at a restaurant in New York and like staring at someone?
No, like if you legitimately, this is not a joke. I think people think it's like funny, like it's a joke. If you stare at someone for too long in New York, they absolutely will either scream at you from across the way or come over to you and be like, do you have a problem? Can I help you?
I've watched it happen many times.
Literally.
People be like, do you have a problem? Can I help you?
Can I
help you?
you?
If you stare at someone for too long, they will scream at you.
And see, that's so different. That's so different in LA because, and I noticed this when I first came to LA, like people in New York don't care enough to look at each other. They're not like whatever. But in LA, people will stare at you because they want to see it how
a
important
famous
you
person.
are. Yeah.
They want to know if you're famous or not.
They want to know if you're famous or not, and they want to figure out if you're more important than they are. Like when you walk into a room.
Are they hot? Are you hotter than them? Are they hotter than you? They want to know that they're the hottest person in the room. They want to know if there's someone there who's more famous, has more followers than them.
Right.
So everyone is like constantly glancing.
Exactly. And that's very like transplanty LA vibes. It's not like LA natives are so cool.
Oh yeah, we're talking about that. That is very specific to like transplant culture, tourist, that sort of thing. Like, but yeah, there is very much, especially when we've been in like influencer spaces or like everyone is staring at everyone. It is so bizarre.
Yeah, like when you go to like a nice restaurant, like we went to Boa, like it was very much like. And then I remember even before, like, we went in, they tried to stop me because they thought I was wearing sandals. I was like, these are heeled shoes. These are not sandals. Like,
oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. They were like, no athletic shoes or something. And we were like, huh?
I'm wearing literal, like, heels.
Yes.
Right? And, like, it's just so weird because you could, like, go into somewhere and people are like, hi.
Hi. Can I help you?
What's going on? Like...
I ate at a restaurant and it's one of those like members only. You have to have a membership and or know someone. So I like knew someone who was like a writer who took us to this restaurant. When we walked in, first of all, you had to know someone. They asked for the person's name. It was like a whole thing. They were like, I need to see your phone. They take your phone and they put a sticker over the camera and then hand it back to you. You're not allowed to take pictures. You're not allowed to have your phone out, which just the whole thing irked me because I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm here to eat food. I don't care who's here. I'm not taking a photo of anyone. Yeah. I mean, Pedro Pascal was at the table behind us. So, like, there were, like, literal A-list celebs there. But
shit myself, I think.
You're going to take my phone and put a sticker on the camera. Yeah. Like, it was just, the whole thing was weird. Everyone looky-loos, staring at everyone. It was just weird.
See, it's interesting because I think celebrity culture... here is very interesting because I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, you see a celeb, you're like, a lot of people are usually like, okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still that thing of like, you know, like, oh my God, like kind of thing. I don't know. It's very interesting because I also like celebrities in New York, like fully, some of them like ride the subway, like they take Ubers, like and people like you'll see them and maybe you'll say hey, but it's not so much like phone.
Let's get a picture, snap a picture, like
and like for sure it does happen sometimes, for sure. But like literally celebrities, they take public transportation in New York. They fully 1, walk the street. Like Timothée Chalamet literally sits in parks, like goes to like regular bagel shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where here it's very much like jump out of a car or
they only go to these specific spots. Yeah. They're not like hanging out places. They're not walking around. They're like going to these exclusive spots and that's it.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
And everyone's always looking for them. Which I'm not. You're good at spotting them. I just admit I'm apparently in my own world and never see these people. But
yeah, I'm really good at like finding people. I think it's because I'm so used to, because living in New York, like I love like people watching. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So I don't like staring at people, but like sometimes if I'm like just, you know, sitting around, I'm like, oh, what's the vibe here, you know? Because there's always something going on.
Always something to see.
Literally.
There's a difference between like people watching and like staring at someone being all up in their business.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, I'm not saying don't ever look at me. Don't ever. Also, if you see us in person, like come up and say, hey, like I'm not saying that. I'm just like, you can tell when someone is being nosy and they're up in your business. Yeah. That I don't like.
I actually, which is so interesting, I think I knew somebody, maybe it was in college or something. I kind of knew somebody who, like, I guess in our school was like kind of popular or whatever. And people like would take pictures of them like in school. And then I can't remember like if it was me or if it happened to my friend, but I remember the story of like, maybe it wasn't me, maybe my friend told me this story, but they were like, yeah, like I was in school and like somebody like took a photo of me because I was with this person like in school. Like don't do that.
That's so weird.
Like, don't do that. Like,
yeah.
That's like my thing. Like, for sure, like, different than like people watching is different than like fully staring at someone.
Yes.
But also, like, if you're taking pictures of someone like from like far away, like,
just like say hi.
Yeah.
Like, come up to me. Yeah, that's happened to me. Someone was taking a picture of me and I was just like, just come say hi. Like, it's weirder to like, if you think you're being incognito, let me just snap a picture.
Yeah.
That's weirder than just walking up to them and being like, I love you, or like, I know you from this. Like, just wanted to say hey. Like, sneaking a picture of someone in public's weird. That's a weird thing to do.
That's definitely a little like weird. It's like scary. But what else was I gonna say? Oh, something that's very different about, I would say, New York and LA is that like people always talk about like how New York is very expensive, but LA is like, I would say, equally as expensive.
Yeah.
Instead, like, this is the great debate, like whether New York or LA is more expensive. But I think like LA is more expensive in the fact that you for sure should have a car when you live here. I don't have a car, but you should have a car.
That is very true.
Yeah. And then you have to obviously pay for your car, pay for gas.
Insurance.
And then food here is so expensive.
That's true.
And like apartments here, I think, are cheaper in terms of like
what you get.
Yeah, in terms of what you get, like your space.
Yes.
But it's equivalent in like how much rent you're spending for an apartment.
Yes.
But like you get more space in LA. But New York, you might get less space for sure. But food is cheaper. Public transportation is everywhere.
Yes,
like
it's usable actually.
Exactly.
And that is true. There's like trade-offs. Because I don't know. I just think about like my apartment in New York would be
oh my god,
double.
It would be, exactly. You would
like just in terms of the space that you get. Not that I'm in some amazing apartment. It's just a standard 2-bedroom, but yeah, it's just like your money in terms of rent goes a little further here and what you get. But yeah, it is. You have to have a car here.
Yeah.
It just, if not, like it makes it. It's a headache. It's not like there's a subway every 5 minutes across the street running. It's just different.
Which like another thing too, like I was saying before, like celebrities literally take public transportation in New York. But I feel like people in LA, like some people view public transportation in a way that it's like kind of like beneath them when literally people take like people who are from LA like take public transportation every day because that's how they live their lives. Like some people take the metro train, some people take the bus or the dash, whatever. And I feel like it's seen so negatively here versus in New York. Everybody takes public transportation. It's
no
normal.
one has literally no one has a car.
And some people that do have cars, they don't like drive them all the time. Like
they're sitting outside their apartment most of the time.
Right. So like I think that's for sure very different too. Like the kind of mindset of like how people get around and stuff like that.
Yeah, my friend has a car in New York City, has a car. Every day she has to wake up at 6 a.m. and move her car. She said sometimes it takes 30 minutes.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't have to even get up for work until 8, but because I have a car, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. every day and move my car every day.
Yeah. No, my dad has to do the same thing. He's like not in New York City, but still like in the city, like you have to move your car because of like street cleaning and stuff. So you have to like get up and move it. And even if you like move it just across to the next street, it'll save you from getting a ticket. Yeah. Like it's insane.
Because we remember when we rented that car and we like literally put the car on the street to like run inside to grab something. Like we were standing by the car and it was like maybe 5 minutes and there was a ticket on it.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, okay, my thing too is like, I love New York so much and it's like my favorite place in the world, as I keep saying, but like there's a reason. I don't know. Like, it's just like, it feels like a city that's like filled with like just so many different things that you could, it could take you like years to do everything in New York City. And for sure you could for sure do the same thing in LA, but I don't know. It just has this feeling of like, I don't know what it is. It's just very special, I think. And I don't think, while I do like LA,
yeah,
I don't think it has the same feeling as New York in terms of like the kind of like vibe you get like when you're there.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
I think LA has a special vibe and a feeling that New York doesn't have. And I think New York has a special feeling that LA doesn't have.
Yeah.
There's something about LA that I love, that every single person here is like a huge dreamer. Everyone has huge dreams and huge aspirations, and everyone is working towards something big, and it's just very inspiring to me. And I feel like New York doesn't necessarily have that. Like, everyone you meet is not like, I want to be a singer, I want to be this, I want to be this, you know. So that I do love about LA that New York doesn't have, is like there are a lot of people who move here to pursue their dreams, and that's what I did, and it's very inspiring. And they're just like different. New York doesn't have that feel, but it has something different and something special that LA doesn't have.
Yeah, that's so funny, because I actually love when I meet people now who are like, yeah, I just have this job and I'm gonna do this job and maybe get a new one. And when someone like tells me like something super normal, like I love that. It's so refreshing to me, because like living here, I think you can meet so many people who are like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, I love that, because obviously like I also have like big dreams too, and I, you know, but I low-key really love it when I meet someone and they're like, yeah, I'm an accountant, or like I'm a lawyer.
They're in like not their dream job, but they're like, this is what I went to school to do. This is my career.
And they like love it. And they're like, yeah, I just want to like have kids and like have a house. And like,
boring.
That's like literally all they want. And I'm like, that is like kind of the most refreshing thing ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like, I don't think I ever realized that some people just want to like be themselves. They don't want to do anything else besides just live their life.
It's which we should talk about. It's literally okay if you don't have huge dreams and huge aspirations, and like, you know, in terms of career or in terms of like that, because you don't have, like, you literally don't have to. If you have a good job and you love it, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have to, but I just find it inspiring, and it motivates me to keep going and to push and to reach for the stars. And I'm surrounded by so many people that are doing the same thing and just go after their goals. And yeah, I find it very inspiring and very motivating.
Okay. What is it like? I think this is like the good part. What is it like about New York that like you don't necessarily like?
I mean, I touched on some of them, like the climate. I don't like snow. I don't like the cold. I like having my car, so I like being able to drive around. I do like the nature of LA, because people love to say that Central Park is nature. It's not. I like the nature of LA. I like the ocean, the beach, the hikes. We can drive an hour and be in I could be skiing. I could be surfing.
You can literally
desert.
Do the same thing in New York.
No. I'm not going to be gaslit today.
No, you absolutely can.
I am very realistic about things, and New York has much better food. There's things about New York that are better. There's just not nature there.
No. Okay.
And there is nature, but you don't have your car there, so you can't go to the nature.
No, okay. Here's the thing.
And if you say that Coney Island is the beach.
No. I'm not saying like beach.
Okay,
like beach is like completely like, like LA beaches for sure better than New York beaches. Like they're very like not as great. I think the only part of the East Coast that has good beaches is Florida, but who wants to go there?
No one.
But the thing about New York is like the nature in New York is like so beautiful. Like usually, like, I mean, my family had a car. So, I mean, maybe that's the difference. But even like if you don't have a car, you can like take the train upstate oh my God, the most beautiful like fall and like apple picking and like orchards and like hiking. There's skiing, there's like snowboarding, whatever. Like there's literally like, I mean, you've seen it because I took you guys upstate.
Yeah.
And like, that's like where I grew up. And actually that's so funny because I was thinking about that recently and that made me miss New York so much because I miss like just being able to go outside and just like be in nature. And it's funny that you say that there's not really nature in New York because
I'm talking the city. There is no nature in the city.
Yeah, instead of like the park and stuff like that. Yeah,
there's no hiking in New York City. Like you're not in Manhattan and going hiking. Like you can hike in LA. There's hikes here, like in the city. That's what I'm saying. Like it's actually in this city. There's like hikes, there's nature, there's the beach, and it's also like part of it too is I grew up in Alabama and I grew up in that type of nature. The trees, they're beautiful. The fall is gorgeous. There's pumpkin patches and it's just, this is different. I think is my thing. Like I'm used to the fall leaves. So coming here, seeing the beautiful palm trees, the desert, Palm Springs, like I had never seen stuff like to me, this is so different. And I think that's the same. I'm from the East Coast. So like, it's just very similar.
I think the thing about LA too is like LA is bigger, so there's more space. And LA, like Los Angeles County, is considered so much more than like New York.
Yeah, that is true.
New York is like
tiny.
But technically, if you say New York, like as a state, it's still like New York City, like the city part, and then upstate, which makes the entirety of New York. But because it's like so small and LA County is so big, I think that also makes it a bit different because it's like this whole place is so much bigger than like I think New York is.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you go like compare New York State and California State, just like the ease of diversity in the climates here, I like you can be, like I said, you can be in the desert. Like you can't do that in New York. You can't drive an hour and a half and be in the desert and then like it's just that all I'm saying is it's like pretty similar and it's similar to where I was born and raised. So that's why the New York nature like doesn't do it for me as much. I'm like, this is beautiful, but I've seen the leaves change like my whole life. This is something different.
Yeah, I mean, I love like obviously I'm very pro New York, of course, because like I grew up there. And what I love about like LA, because I mean, obviously I live here, so I sure hope that I do like it that I live here.
I would hope so.
I do love the fact that it is like warm all the time, but I love snow. Like I love the snow. I love winter, but I do love the fact that it's warm all the time. And the funny thing is I could care less about the beach. So I don't.
Then that doesn't have any impact on your decision.
It's so like, because people here always talk about the beach. Like I've had so many friends who have been like, no, I love the beach. And they're like, oh, like, do you like the beach? And I'm like, sure. I'm like, the beach is fine to me. I like don't like care about going to the beach. Like once in a while, like I love to do that. But like I could not be at, like, let's say I had to be at the beach every day. I could not be at the beach every day. Yeah. Just because like the sand is everywhere and then I'm like,
I feel like that is how I feel about the pretty forest in New York. Like once in a while, I love to go see it. It's beautiful. I don't need to see it every day. I don't like that's exactly how I feel about it.
That's so funny because like even here, like I think that's why people like move here because they love like the beach and they love like I think maybe when I was a kid I liked the beach more, but like now I'm like whatever. But what I do love about here is like I love the culture here in terms of like LA natives. I think they're the way that like they have such a reverence for this city and like it means so much to them. I love that.
Yeah.
And there's so much culture here because of the people who like live here.
Yes.
And also I think what I love about it, because here's the thing about me, I don't have a car and I don't like the beach. So it's like, why do I like living here?
Yeah.
I just think it's so cool because I've seen like things on TV like about LA. Like I used to watch like TV shows about LA or like reality shows about LA and stuff like that. And it almost doesn't feel like a real place in terms of like there's like studios everywhere. There's like, you know, random like things that you're like, oh my God, I saw that on TV when I was like younger. So I think that's what I like about it. That's like kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I do love that it's hot all the time. And I also love Joshua Tree and I love Palm Springs. Those are like my favorite places. But that's like kind of not LA, but it's still like, you know, it's like close enough to like you could get there.
Yeah.
But I think that's my favorite thing. Other than that, like, yeah, I think I'm like, I will always be like a New York girly, which is why I need to be bi-coastal because I love both like separately. But if I literally was able to put them together, that would be perfect. Like if I could just like mesh them both.
The best parts of each.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Because I miss my people. Like I feel like my like New York people, some of the craziest fucking people you'll ever meet, but in the best way possible. Yeah. And like the thing about like, this is a big thing too. People always talk about how don't move to LA. Like the people there are so fake, whatever the fuck. I literally think as long as you have good people in your life, good friends, people that you can trust, like, and you're not fully all in the influencer transplant LA people thing, you can find good people here. But my thing too is like that does happen to people like out here. Like it is a little bit harder, I feel like, to like find those genuine people. But in New York, I don't know what it is. Like you could like literally just talk to someone on the street, like randomly, like if you're at a bar or something, and you're like, wait, like we're best friends now. Like immediately you're like, oh my God, this person's so cool. And you meet like insane people out there. Like you just talk to someone randomly and they're like, oh yeah, no, I work over there and I do this cool thing. And you're like, what? Like, that is so weird. I don't know.
Yeah. You just gotta like find your people in both, and each of them have like different parts that are hard about finding friends. There's just like a lot of, like you said, there's like transplant culture. And like I was saying, a lot of people chasing their dreams. That does come with a downside of people who are very selfish here, because they're so like honed in on their dreams. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what boundaries they cross in the pursuit of their dreams. And I'm adding not just one person, many people I've met here like that. They'll run you over. They'll screw you over in hopes of like chasing their dream. So obviously that is a challenge, but you have to just kind of like pick through it and find your people slowly. And but that does, there's parts of each that are harder to find friends. And
because I think New York is hard because it's so like solitary. So sometimes it's hard to make friends because of that. And I think LA is hard because it's so like far apart.
I mean, if you like you said, LA County, humongous, like we don't live that far apart in terms of miles, but like I don't know, you meet someone cool and they live across town, you're never like, seeing them. You're never gonna see them again. They might as well live in Arkansas. No,
literally, that's so true. That is so true. Like
because it's so huge here that like I don't know, driving across town could take you 2 hours, and it fully has before taken me hours to get somewhere just in LA. So like in New York, everyone is like a train ride away.
Exactly. Because like, let's say I made a friend who lived in like, what, I don't know, Burbank. You think I'm going to Burbank? No.
If we're friends and you live in Burbank, it's just, I'm going to see you as much as my friends who live in Alabama. Like, that's just the reality.
Like, you have to come to literally like LA, like come down to like, like East Hollywood, maybe WeHo, we're going out together. We're going to hang out. But like, I'm not going to like Anaheim Unless we're going to like, you know, like a
she who must not be named.
Yes, we're going there to like meet up. I'm not traveling to Anaheim to hang out with you.
No.
Like,
or
I'm
like,
sorry.
Do you see someone ever see people on a dating app and they're like, oh, I live in Sherman Oaks. I'm like, we're done here.
Yeah,
like,
thank you so much.
There's no point.
No, it's like literally you're not even long distance. Ooh. Oh, it's like
Big Papa bringing the hammer down.
Right. It's like not even like, it's literally long distance. You're doing long distance.
1000%.
And I think people make that joke too about like if you live in Manhattan versus someone who lives in Brooklyn. But bitch, that's a train ride.
You're on one train, and it doesn't take that long.
No, but here I can't date someone who lives in like Venice. Like Seth and I are different because we do live far apart from each other, but we're best friends, so we see each other all the time.
Yeah.
And like I will take the bus to see Seth, even though it takes an hour 30 minutes. Don't care.
And it takes an hour to drive here, but I still do it.
Absolutely. But like if I'm dating someone who lived there,
like if you're dating someone and you want to see them a couple times a week, like we're not traveling to each other a couple times a week. That's just, it can't happen. It takes forever.
Right.
So like if you're trying to date someone and go on dates, they better live like by the CVS by your house. Like they need to live within a few blocks of you or it's just not happening.
No, literally, bitch, live in my building and we're good.
Oh yeah.
That would be incredible.
But if things go south.
No, then you have to see them all the time.
That's, maybe live in, I was going to say in the building across the street, but then my situationship lives in the building across the street from me, and that's like a whole thing.
Yeah, we can't even.
Oh, God. Should we like wrap up and tell like a crazy story from either LA or New York? Like something shocking that's happened?
What's something scary? Okay, so one time I was on the subway, and I think I was by myself, and this homeless guy got on, and he was like walking through the like thing, like screaming. And the difference between like sometimes like seeing homeless people in LA and seeing homeless people in New York is like, I feel like in LA, like sometimes like they kind of will like interact with you.
Yeah.
But in New York, like they're like usually
mind their business. They're not going to talk to you or
usually in their own world, minding their business, doing their own thing. But this guy was actively screaming, and he was screaming at people. And like he had come over in my area, and I fully was like, I looked at him like, because what? Like, what are you about to do?
Right.
Like, okay. So I'm sitting there, he's screaming like in my area, he's coming around and like coming towards me, and I'm like, okay, bitch. He literally then like starts screaming like bloody murder, like insanely loud.
Oh my God.
And then he goes to like where the doors are, like in the train. And there's like a little, in the subway, there's like a door to go to a different like cart, but then there's also like a little thing that connects them at the top. So he got on top of that, and like the door was open, so he like not like forward, he was like laying backwards like this and hanging with his head like in the car, like facing like this. Like it's so hard to explain.
Oh my God.
But basically he was like Spider-Man, like this, like, and then swinging on it, screaming in the car like, I'm gonna you, I'm gonna myself, like I'll you, blah blah. And like everybody in the car was like, okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he did start like getting like a little bit like violent. So people like had to like get up and be like try and control him. And then when we got to like the next place, like stop or whatever, police like came in and like did whatever. But it was so like, it was probably one of the scariest things ever, because he actively like was like screaming at people, like throwing things, like literally just like hanging up and down. He was like, I'm gonna jump off the train, like if you don't give me money, like I'm gonna get hit by the train, like and like threatening to himself. But like I was like,
Jesus Christ,
it was so scary.
At my literal last apartment complex, the lady who there was someone parked in my spot, she was on drugs, parked in my parking spot. I pull in, and this happened all the time. So I would most of the time just like beep at my horn and flash my lights, and people would pull out and be like, sorry, and wave because they're in an assigned parking spot. So I like beep my horn, flash my lights. She gets out, comes to my car door, starts screaming at me. Who the fuck do you think you're honking your horn at? Fuck you. Get out of the car. Fight me. Like, so then she like has her little thing, screams at me, gets in her car, pulls out. I pull in my spot. She pulls up behind me. Keep in mind, I have both the dogs. Rest in peace, Belle. Have both the dogs. And I get out of my car and I'm just trying to get inside. She's getting in my face, being like, hit me, hit me. You won't hit me, hit me. Like literally screaming at me. I'm running, holding the dogs, like trying to protect all of us.
Yeah.
Like it's just, yeah. And that had never happened to me where someone was like getting in my face, screaming, like hit me. I thought she was going to shank me. Like,
yeah.
Scary. The last time me and Monique went to New York, I met her there and she was meeting me in the city. And like my Uber dropped me off and you were like walking up from the subway.
Oh, yes.
And I literally was like just flown into New York, hadn't been there in a year. I was like, oh, back in New York for a bit. Like I'm excited. I look across the street and I see a car hit a biker. And like he goes down, hits the ground, is laying in a pool of blood. They have to call the police literally seconds after I get out of the Uber. Insane. And Monique was like, oh my God, how? I'm like, I just saw someone get hit by a car.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. People in New York don't know how to drive. And this can be the last thing to settle this debate. LA drivers, 100% worse than New York drivers. It is it's definitely scary to drive in New York because there's so many cars.
There's just thousands
there's
of cars.
People and there's like cars, but here
you can't go very fast in New York.
No, but here people are going 100 miles per hour. They're looking at their fucking phone. They're not paying attention, getting in collisions, driving off. It's like it's fucking like GTA here.
1000%. When I was commuting in office 5 days a week, every single day I would see a wreck. Every day I would see a wreck. Every day I would almost die in a car crash. Every day someone would almost hit me. Like scary.
No.
Scary.
We need to, whoever's giving out licenses here, we need to like have someone get reevaluated because
it's just out of control.
Yeah, so at least maybe New York has that one thing.
Right.
No scary drivers.
Yes. But I guess just overall, they both have their pros and cons. I don't think I have my preference. You have your preference. I don't think one is better than the other.
For sure.
I love both of them. Yeah. I think, and you were talking about LA people have like such strong pride. I think New York people have such strong pride. I like parts of both of them, and they're both fun. And if you're visiting there, respect the people who live there.
Absolutely.
And if you transplant there, respect the people who live there originally and have been here or there. And we love both.
Yeah, love both. And that's actually a really good point. Like both of these places have like dealt with like people moving there who either don't respect the culture or don't respect like the way it is to live there. So please, like if you're ever moving to LA or moving to New York, like do your research, understand people who live there, respect people who are natives, and like don't like come in their shit and like pretend like your shit doesn't stink. Like if you're not from there, you have to assimilate, you have to learn, you have to like respect the culture, respect the vibes. Like don't act all high and mighty. Just be respectful of people.
And no matter if it's LA, if it's New York, if it's any city, any country you're visiting, living, moving, respect the people who live there and realize you are a guest.
And also if you like move to a new place, try and meet someone who is like literally from there, because you'll not only learn so much about the place, but then you'll get so much like better respect for the place. So
like have some, obviously it's nice to have friends in a new city like that have also moved to the city and know what that's like, but also like have some friends that are born and raised in the place you're from. Like really dive in, get to know the culture. If you're moving to LA, don't just stick to West Hollywood and like get out, see actual real LA, have real food. Don't just go to Creation and like Earth, like, you know, experience the culture, and but be respectful.
So we love LA, but we also love New York.
We love both. Sound off in the comments below. What are some of your...
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite spots in either? Give us some recs. Do you have opinions about what we said? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. And if you're from LA, tell us one thing you love about LA. If you're from New York, tell us one thing you love about New York. And yeah.
And one thing you hate about the other one.
Oh, true.
Let's get the fights going in the comments.
Everybody fight about which coast is better.
East Coast v West Coast.
I think people in the East Coast say Beast Coast. Like,
that just gave me the ick.
I know. Some people do say that. Or they say East Coast, like Best Coast or whatever.
West Coast, Best Coast.
Maybe everybody says that. I think people say East Coast, Beast Coast. I think they do say that actually.
Right.
But anyways,
yeah, thanks for listening. If you made it to the end.
New York is better. I'm kidding.
Imagine. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.
See
Have
ya.
a good day.